gonna go try to get them to stop doing that.
It all began on December 4th, 2003. While patrolling Arlington, Virginia, a police officer was approached by a worried family claiming someone nearby had been firing a flare gun. The officer heard the blasts himself and followed the noise to the home of 56-year-old James Hugh, who lived alone in one half of a duplex. According to Officer Abrams, James was a reclusive man known for his strange behavior. Online, he posted paranoid rants, claiming that government agencies, his ex-wife, and even his neighbors were plotting to kill him. His posts were incoherent, and his real-world behavior wasn't much better. In the months before the incident, he'd covered his windows with garbage bags and aluminum foil, and even wrapped the trees in his yard with toilet paper. While not dangerous, these actions were starting to raise serious concerns. When police arrived at his home that day, they found James at his window, firing his flare gun over and over into the sky.
County Police! Stop shooting the flares! Mr. Yu!
Despite repeated attempts to get him to stop, James silently fired 41 flares in just 25 minutes, never saying a word, never offering a reason. At that point, police had no idea what kind of threat they were dealing with. They spent hours trying to coax him out for questioning, but he never responded.
James, Arlington Police, come to the front door with your hands up. Do it now. We have your building surrounded.
Stand away from your front door, James.
Yeah.
Then, in a sudden, violent moment, the house exploded, completely obliterating the structure. Investigators later found that James had stored 55 gallons of gasoline in his basement, seemingly waiting for the perfect time to ignite it. Some believe the flare gun was a trap, an attempt to draw police into his home before triggering the blast, hoping to take them, and possibly his neighbors, with him. James was convinced everyone was plotting against him. Miraculously, no one else was hurt. Only one body was recovered, James's. But the story didn't end there. Soon after the explosion, strange activity started surfacing on social media. Posts from what looked like James's YouTube account claimed he'd survived, that the explosion was staged, and he hadn't even been inside when the standoff began. Looking back, there were no confirmed recordings of James's voice during the standoff, and he was never clearly seen in any footage, leading to rampant speculation. These posts quickly went viral, fueling rumors and confusion. Eventually, it was revealed the account wasn't his at all. It had been created by someone else under a different username. But even with the truth exposed, many still believed it was part of a massive cover-up. The more likely explanation: James was a man suffering from deep paranoia and isolation, and his world finally collapsed in one of YouTube's darkest and most unsettling videos. On July 21, 2021, Jake Gorba, his 3-year-old son Caden, and his wife Victoria went off-roading near the Sierra National Forest, just outside Madera County, California. Everything was going smoothly, until they decided to pull over for a quick break. That's when Caden suddenly grew frantic, pointing wildly toward a nearby field. When Jake and Victoria asked what was wrong, he shouted that a blue-haired woman was lying face down in the field, with her legs sticking straight up. Trying to calm him down, Victoria stayed with Caden while Jake stepped into the field to investigate. But no matter how hard he looked, he couldn't find anything matching his son's description. Unsettled by the whole encounter, the family chose to head home. Later, Victoria shared the strange experience on Facebook, and the post quickly caught the attention of the Madera County Police. What stood out was that a woman had recently gone missing in that very area, and she matched Caden's description almost exactly. The story soon gained traction and even made it onto local news, where the family was interviewed.
He says, she needs our help, but she's dead. And she's laying face down with her legs up, and she can't talk to me, but she's over there. We need to go help.
Sandra Hughes was an experienced outdoorswoman, but after setting out on a solo camping trip near the Sierra National Forest, something went terribly wrong. Her car was later found crashed at the bottom of a ravine. What's truly unsettling is that Sandra didn't seem to seek help. Instead, she simply walked off into the woods with little to no supplies. There were a few reported sightings. Local hunters claimed to have seen her in the area, but at the time, they had no idea she was missing. She didn't ask for help, didn't say a word, and was never officially seen again. That is, unless you believe what Caden saw in the field that day.
He describes down to blue hair. He said she has a black shirt, blue jeans, and blue hair, Mom. I hope that he could have at least helped and maybe helped the family.
Sadly, after police searched the area where Caden claimed to see the figure, nothing was ever found. To this day, Sandra Hughes remains a missing person. Thanks so much for watching. Consider subscribing, and let me know what you'd like to see next. As always, I'll see you in the next one. In the summer of 2021, a chilling video was uploaded to YouTube by a user named Fat Reacts. What's strange is, it's the only video on their channel. The title? Found a dead body in a cooler at a lake. And disturbingly, it seems to be just that. In the clip, a group of teenagers drag a pink cooler from the water, only to be hit with an overwhelming stench of decay. The cooler is sealed tight, black tape wrapped around every edge. Gagging from the smell, they fight through it and finally manage to pry the lid open, only to uncover something far more disturbing than they ever expected.
Open it.
With what?
Your knife. Oh, what is it? Oh my God. Open it up for a minute. I gotta record.
Quick editor's note. I've had to blur the contents of the cooler to avoid harming the channel. The full unedited video is still available on YouTube, and I'll leave a link in the description. But be warned, if you're squeamish, I wouldn't recommend watching it.
Look it in there. What is that? What is it? What is it?
I don't know. I don't know.
What you mean? What does it look like?
It looks
What does it look like, bro?
it looks like dead fish.
You lying.
I swear.
Matthew, what does it look like, bro?
Disgusting.
Bro. Like, this is like somebody's body. You look like somebody's body? Huh?
I don't know. I'm holding my breath every time I go over there.
Look.
I don't know what. It smells like garbage. Oh, look at the fish.
I'm not looking over there.
It is disgusting.
I'm calling 911.
Don't call the emergency one. Look up non-emergency.
Non-emergency.
That was nasty.
I'm about to throw up.
What is it? I can't tell.
As you can hear near the end of the clip, the group says they're calling the police to report what they found. According to them, they did, and later posted an update that read, "Update. It was an infant, neglected and abandoned inside the cooler filled with water. Location will not be disclosed for privacy reasons." Naturally, many commenters were skeptical. Some accused them of making it up. Others said the contents just looked like dead fish, and with no news reports or articles to back up the story, it's hard to say what the truth really is. Still, judging by the presence of bugs and maggots inside the cooler, whatever was in there had once been alive. But for the sake of my own sanity, I'll keep telling myself it was just fish. This eerie video comes from Aaron Cloudy. While remodeling a 200-year-old Victorian flat he had just purchased, he discovered a hidden door tucked behind the staircase. But things got even stranger. Behind that door was an entire secret room that no one had mentioned. There was nothing about it in the deed, and the realtors never brought it up. Naturally, the comments exploded with speculation, and just when you think it couldn't get more unsettling, they found a tunnel branching off from the room, one that seemed to stretch on endlessly. Here's the clip.
He's like barbarian. Oh, it stinks. Oh my days. It keeps going. I am blessing this house. Goes up to the roof. This is all underneath me. I'm not going to be able to sleep.
It's still unclear what the tunnels were originally used for, but one thing's certain, Erin was deeply unsettled knowing they ran right beneath her living room. Unfortunately, that's where the updates stop. Let me know what you think. In 2023, a Venezuelan drug trafficker named Ronaldo came up with a bold plan to deceive his cartel bosses. He had been entrusted with transporting over $10 million worth of narcotics by boat. But when he returned empty-handed, he claimed he'd been pursued by the Coast Guard and had no choice but to dump the entire shipment into the ocean. Because of his rank, they believed him, at least for a while. Once the heat died down, Ronaldo returned to the exact spot and recovered the drugs. He then smuggled them to a nearby Caribbean island, where he gathered his crew and began selling off the product to pocket the profits. But according to reports, one of his own men betrayed him. Even after Ronaldo changed his identity, the cartel tracked him down. In a brutal act of revenge, they tied him to an anchor, drove him into deep water, and dropped him. In 2023, a Venezuelan drug trafficker named Ronaldo came up with a bold plan to deceive his cartel bosses. He had been entrusted with transporting over $10 million worth of narcotics by boat. But when he returned empty-handed, he claimed he'd been pursued by the Coast Guard and had no choice but to dump the entire shipment into the ocean. Because of his rank, they believed him, at least for a while. Once the heat died down, Ronaldo returned to the exact spot and recovered the drugs. He then smuggled them to a nearby Caribbean island, where he gathered his crew and began selling off the product to pocket the profits. But according to reports, one of his own men betrayed him. Even after Ronaldo changed his identity, the cartel tracked him down. In a brutal act of revenge, they tied him to an anchor, drove him into deep water, and dropped him. In July 2023, India witnessed a tragic incident. A 53-year-old elephant trainer was crushed after striking the animal with a bamboo stick. It's important to understand that elephants in India are deeply revered, often seen as divine beings and used in grand festivals. But beneath the celebration lies a much darker truth. Many of these elephants endure daily abuse. Hidden beneath the flowers and decorations are scars from hooks, prods, and chains used to control them. Both African and Asian elephants are endangered, playing a crucial role in their ecosystems. That's what makes this footage so haunting. It's some of the most disturbing I've ever seen. While I'll show only what I can on screen, I strongly advise against searching for the full video. In it, the trainer repeatedly strikes the 2,000-pound elephant, trying to force it to move. Without warning, the elephant snaps, lunging at him and slamming him to the ground. Once he's down, the elephant crushes him under its full weight, kneading his body like dough. Tragically, because the man's head remains untouched, he's conscious through most of it, likely feeling every bone-shattering moment until the pain and shock finally overwhelm him. And just when it seems it couldn't get worse, the elephant coils its trunk around his neck and flings him like a rag doll. Eventually, another trainer managed to lead the elephant away, but the man sadly died from his injuries. According to reports, the park was shut down, but what became of the elephant remains unclear. That said, I want to make something very clear. When elephants are treated with care and trained properly, they can form incredible bonds with humans. While you should never approach them in the wild, there's no reason to fear them. Instead, we should do everything we can to protect these amazing animals for generations to come.